Next to us today we have the Merlin Yoxall 2 jacket. This is an autumn-winter riding jacket for release late 2020, and as the name would suggest, this is the second version of the Yoxall from Merlin. And this was the jacket that really established them as the brand in our lineup that offered the maximum blend of style and performance at the most competitive price points. And they've done really well since then, building out a far larger collection, really to that same brief. So the Yoxall 2, it borrows very similarly from the success of the original Yoxall, but the main reason for its introduction was really the introduction of CE approval changes late 2019, which meant that all items coming into the market had to now be submitted for this testing standard, and obviously to pass it to one of the three levels, A, AA and AAA, for motorcycle clothing. So they took the opportunity to tweak and improve the Yoxall, and lo and behold, it's CE approved to level A, which is the standard essentially for urban use. This is a very price competitive garment, always has been. So the original came in at $229, which was staggering really for the amount of jacket that was on offer. And given all the improvements which we'll talk about now, and all the fact that it has to go through the CE approval, which is a costly exercise for a brand, there's a modest £20 increase to $249.99, which I think is very fair. This is really a jacket that has a slight autumn-winter bias, but can definitely be used in places like the UK in spring as well. It does have some neatly integrated ventilation, but really it's a waterproof, breathable 12-ounce Halley Stevenson's wax cotton outer with a Resa active waterproof and breathable drop liner beneath it. And it has a really good thermal liner, which has increased in thickness as well, up to 150 grams from 125 grams previously. There's lots of other very subtle tweaks to the jacket, but we'll kind of go through it all as a whole. As you can see with the jacket, if you weren't familiar with the predecessor, this is essentially a jacket that's going to be appealing to most riders, being mid to 3/4 in length, which is a good degree of coverage, and also having that versatility to basically operate in all weather riding conditions. There's two colors. We have the brown stroke olive, and we have the black as well, which we have next to us here. It's neatly toned in with this brass sort of antique effect snaps, which you get with the Merlin branding on it. There's a couple of small stylistic tweaks from the predecessor, which I personally think are a small improvement, namely the absence of some of the quilted sections on the things like the shoulders. So we have it still on the side and on the back of the shoulder blades, but it doesn't have it on the top. So that gives it just a little bit less of a sort of pigeonholed traditional aesthetic, just I think looking a little bit more sleek and slightly less traditional across those sections, and giving the jacket to me just a little bit more of a balance. So there's two fabrics that Merlin work with really in their collection. So with the Yoxall, we have what they call their silk wax, which is a really heavy duty Halley Stevenson's 12-ounce wax cotton. So the wax in itself is obviously coated this cotton with the wax, which is going to help the water run off of the fabric. And then underneath that, we have this Resa active waterproof and breathable membrane. The other fabric they use is their tech wax, which is Cotech, which is essentially a kind of technical version of wax cotton, which is more protective to level AA CE approved. And there are equivalent jackets sort of in terms of style in the range, and you're looking at about a £50 price difference. So if you want something that is slightly more price competitive and really doesn't detract too much at all in terms of the qualifications being still an A, then this is a very compelling argument. If you do want something just a little bit more technical, look to some of the other jackets like the Edel in the lineup, which has been released recently. But so this one comes with the 4 front pockets with the overlay flap, which is going to be a good thing for preventing any water ingress. You've also got these neatly integrated ventilation pockets just above those, which look, I think, pretty smart and not too obvious. And if you open them out, you're going to get a good degree of airflow coming into the jacket on those more sort of intermediate weather days. There's loads of adjustability. So as you can see, you've got 2 snaps with 2 options either side down the arms to tailor it in slightly, depending on how big and chunky your arms are, of course. There's also the snappers around the waist, so you can adjust it there if you need to, but there's also the introduction of a lateral zipper at the side, so you can splay out the opening slightly if you are leant forwards. If you get a slight pinch point when you're leant forward on the bike, that's always a useful thing to have. We also have the ability to put your hands in the side of these pockets, which I really like, because the only downside to some of these very sort of vertically accessed pockets is the fact that you look a bit weird with your hands in like that. So having it so you can access from the side is good. It's also useful if pillions want to make use of that pocket and use your pockets as they go along. You've got the zippers on the cuffs as well, just nice and easy to operate, so you can open those out. And as we go around to the back, you can see you've got the exit vents on the 3/4 section as well, neatly integrated, again, just to continue that airflow from those front ventilation pockets that we showed you a moment ago. The branding is pretty understated, so it's really only present where you've got it engraved into these brass vintage effects snaps that we have down the front of the jacket, and then also with this embroidered patch just on the left sleeve, which is a nice monotone color, so it's not going to stand out too much. Comfort features such as the really nice soft piping around the cuffs and the collars means that you can do it up tightly and not get any unwanted airflow coming in through the top, so that's always welcome. And we have this simple overlay snap on this collar section. There's a mixture of Velcro and the snaps going down the front, which again is a really good thing. It's small detail, but it just means you get a really nice line to the front of the jacket. You don't get the usual kind of wave formations that you do when you don't have the Velcro in between. So it's small attentions to detail like that Merlin have done so well in, because a lot of brands just don't think about these smaller things. You've also, as you notice, got this overlay kind of back on itself section on the underside of this overlay flap, and that's basically a storm drain, if you like. So if you get rain really driving itself to the front of the jacket and it gets under this flap, it's only going to be channeled down the jacket. It's not going to get through to the zip itself, which of course is a YKK zip, so dependable, easy to operate, etc, etc. Open that out, and then we go inside the jacket, and you can see you've got these toggles, so you can also tailor it in around the waist as well, which is easy to operate. Just pull it and then adjust where the pinch point is. Another neat introduction of this feature is the fact you've got an overlay flap on the thermal lining, which is actually something I've not seen before, as simple as it sounds, but it just means that you really do prevent any of the air getting through this frontal zip and keeping you warm. So it's a very effective inner liner, but equally it's also very easily removed with this one zip that goes all the way around the outside. You've got Napoleon pocket, which is vertically accessed, which is right underneath all these outer layers, so a really good place to put your valuables. And on the inside, you just have a sports liner and a black cotton lining to the inside of it. You've also got this very soft cotton section just underneath that padded section around the cuff and the collar as well, just again making it really comfortable. So in essence, this is a highly functional, very well put together, very stylish and very affordable jacket, and it essentially continues the success that has already been established by its predecessor, just pushing things forward and evolving it in accordance with CE approval. So there's no doubt that this is going to be popular. If you've got any questions and comments, then please leave that in the section below, and stay tuned for more video reviews of the world's finest riding gear. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon. Goodbye.